everyone. Welcome to this new episode of our Student Spotlight series, where we are able to showcase some of the work that our students have been doing. I'm Charlotte. I'm one of the outreach coordinators here at CCIR, and it's our pleasure today to have with us Emma, who is currently in one of our Future Scholars Program courses. So Emma, can you just introduce yourself? So tell us where you're from, what year you are in school, and then also a little bit about the course that you're taking.
So hi everyone, my name is Emma, currently a student at the CCIR Linguistics and Big Data program. I'm from Beijing, a class of 2025 student. And then my current project is about phonological patterns in Chinese metrical poetries.
Cool. And then can you tell us a bit about what led you to CCIR and to this course, kind of what how your interests evolved to wanting you to take this course?
So I was looking for an opportunity that I can be with professional scholars in the field. I have experiences of doing real life practices, and I think it's a very great opportunity here at CCIR where I'm provided a chance to actually do a scholar level research, and then which is exactly what I found. I found what I'm looking for at CCR here. Like my professor, Professor Fendel, she is a very patient and then patient and I would say she's a very patient and then interesting professor. Like she looks in and checks in with everybody and then makes sure we're doing fine in our research. I've been experiencing kind of when I was experiencing some issues with my research topics where previously all of my interest of linguistics was more to application side, and then now eventually I changed my side to kind of like a theoretical research, and then she was always there and then to support me through this process.
That's great. And then can you tell us about the course that you're taking? So just remind us what the course is and then tell us kind of some of the key topics that are a part of the course or that what you're learning about.
So the current topic is linguistics and big data. So we're kind of like exploring about linguistics through an approach of using an approach from like data science. So we kind of went through new technologies or like tools that can help us analyze corpuses from a metadata level. And then so the professor started from giving us a introduction to linguistics, and then we kind of explore various tools, for example, like the Voyant, and then to exploring different methodologies that can help us better understand our topic. So my current topic is about Chinese metrical poetries. So I've run that through various tools to see what are the results and how can I better present my research data through these, I would say through these new technologies. So it's basically, traditionally linguistics might be more to a I would say humanities and social science approach. Like we study human languages, how their information are communicated, and then what are some related social factors behind that. But now with the help of technologies, and then when we give in a very large amount of data, the technology kind of like in a new way do some analysis for us, which I found very interesting.
That is really interesting, and definitely I agree that usually linguistics is looked at through a humanities perspective, but it's always very interesting when you can kind of merge two fields that you wouldn't think are related, but definitely are useful to to merge those. And then let's talk a little bit about your project. So can you tell us kind of how you decided on this topic, and then what your research methods are and what that process has been like for you?
So at the very beginning, I tried to do a very like application of my linguistic interests. So I actually like my interest to linguistics was actually derived from like my tutoring experiences with the E people. I found like the kids are having problems doing like learning English at their third languages, because these native speakers spoke like a dialect of the a dialect of the Yi. And then I found like both learning Mandarin and then English was hard for them. But then because our session, the professor can only be with us for 13 weeks. And then so if I'm doing this kind of application, doing an application and experimental approach, that'll be pretty impractical to finish. And then the professor kind of when the professor kind of introduced us to Voyant, and then how that could deal, which is something that deal with the corpus, like it helps you analysis the frequency, and then help you kind of form the context. For example, if you input a word, it'll tell you like the most frequent context this word is in. For example, the word before and word after it. I put in a very ABC corpus for the Chinese metrical poetry with this, the 300 Tang poetries. And then very astonishingly, I found interesting results. There are certain rhymes that seemingly these poetries have a preference to. And then to find out that there is a more often 5 characters and then 7 characters in the line than uneven characters in the lines. So that's why I decided to do the Chinese metrical poetries eventually as my research topic. I did went through some difficulties, as in the very beginning my research topic was too broad. I wanted to look into why do Chinese poets have these preferences to certain rhymes, and why even do poetries rhyme. And then that was simply, I found the why questions very hard to answer. And then later, Professor Fendel helped me with also various examples to narrow down my research topic, and then to where it is now.
Great. And then had you had any experience with this topic before that you
Yeah,
started this project?
yeah, my school is very my school has a very encouraging environment towards like this all the Chinese traditional culture. So we have galleries, and then we have discussion sessions on in school. And then I took like we spent like a week to talk about how these metrical patterns work, and then how they developed, and how ancient Chinese literature developed, how they've moved from ancient styles to, at Tang Dynasty, the emergence of modern styles. And then that is kind of my interest. I already had an interest to that at school, and then CCIR just provided me another opportunity to further explore that, which is kind of like a chemical reaction, which I didn't expect I would one day do a further research topic on that.
That's great. And then I know earlier you said that you're just getting towards the end of the program. So you're in the 11th week out of 13. And so you're probably nearing the end of your findings and your results. Can you tell us, have your findings changed any of your perspectives in terms of what you originally thought about the topic at all?
So I didn't expect that because like it kind of like changed my impression about all these of how like the poetries were produced, like because we're talking about all these ancient metrical poetries, I thought like it'll be very there were like limited space for the poets to express their own idea, because you have to follow all these metrical poetries, metrical patterns. For example, the even lines you have to rhyme, and then the first sentence you just don't. And then there are also rules about the leveling and oblique tone that poets should follow in their compositions. However, when I looked further in the session, I found that the metrical patterns actually pursues alterations and variations of sounds, and also semantic meanings inside. So that is kind kind of what is interesting for me and what I found maybe is an insight into the Chinese beauty and Chinese authentic taste is that we're actually looking for changes within unity. So this finding actually fascinated me a lot. And then in the session, I also had kind of like a discussion with one of my our another student that also has interest in metrical poetries, which he asked me a question about why are there even characters in a line more often than those why are there odd characters in a line that is more often than even characters. And then by looking into that question, this furthers my results of looking for alterations, because you can imagine a 6-character line which will be split into either 2-2-2 or like 3 and 3. However, when you are looking into like a even characters line, it'll be either 2-3 for 5 characters and then 2-2-3 for even characters. And then this actually creates like a rhythm that has more changes than any of like even characters line. Maybe I
Right,
went too
no,
too
that makes sense. That's very interesting. That's very interesting. And you can see how it would look like on the page, which is interesting. So you just spoke about your experience working with the other students in your course. So we're going to pivot to kind of your general experience with the course itself rather than specifically with your paper. But thank you for sharing all of that with us. It is very interesting. So can you tell us how it was working with the other students? How many students did you have in your course? Where were they from, or where are they from, and kind of what that experience has been like for you?
We have like a group of 4 students, including me, and then we are all from different places. So I'm from Beijing. I think it was it was coincidence that 3 out of 4 are from China, but like we all have very different research interests. Another one was from Hangzhou, and then the other was from Shenzhen, and then the last student was from I think India, and then she had which so I had a more like a theoretical approach where I wanted to study phonetics and phonology, and then my Indian friend, she is like a STEM more towards the STEM approach. She has like I think she's an expert from like in computer science, and then also in machine learning. And then the student from Hangzhou, he actually did an experimental experimental approach, like he did about like Chinese international school, how the daily use of languages reflects a student's status at school, which I found like that was very novel way of thinking. I didn't expect any linguistic research can be like that. And then the last student from Shenzhen, she has she did something about internet languages, like usually a specific culture in China, like on the Weibo, and then she went from she kind of like look into that, collecting data on the internet, and then how that reflected the specific culture on the internet. That's so working with them is because all of us have very, very different research interests. So when we always had in the TA session, we always do group discussion. So first session was a lecture session, and then an hour later we have a 1-hour TA session where the professor gives out open questions, and then we answer them from our own research perspective. And so we actually talk about we actually like share our experiences and share our and actually you can comment on each other's paper, and then you can see these very different ideas going together, which is actually like a marble box. Like sometimes you really get inspired from other people's research, and then they make excellent comments and advice about yours.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I think sometimes for prospective students, it can be a little bit intimidating thinking about doing a group course. And a lot of students come in with the idea that they might benefit more from a one-on-one program. But I think it's really great when we talk to our Future Scholars Program students who have had a really great experience with learning so much from the other students, being able to meet other students that have your same passions that come from around the world, which can be really great. And like you said, you all have very different interests within this subject, things that you would have never thought about before. So it's only ever broadening your thoughts and experiences, which is really cool. And then can you tell us how it was doing? So obviously your topic, merging linguistics and computer science, is very niche, and oftentimes a lot of high schools don't offer courses like this. Can you tell us how it was being in this course and doing a high-level research project like this as a high school student? And was it your first experience with it?
Yeah, this was my first experience doing like doing with like a scholar with like professional scholars doing a linguistic research. And then at the very beginning it is overwhelming because I never knew it was a very the research was very intense. Like the requirements are like you have to need to go on various websites to do research. You need to work with different tools and then read a lot of materials. At the very beginning, it is a little bit overwhelming, but like the professor kind of like guides you through, and then she breaks the big tasks into smaller ones, and then also asks questions in every session. That is which I found very helpful. That helps you step by step, narrows it from a very broad perspective into as you previously said, my very niche research topic. Overall, I'm very thankful of having this opportunity as my first working with CCIR as my first try. Basically, it was very I think it was a very friendly, but at the same time there are requirements and then challenges that we have to overcome.
That's great. And then it seems like this program really has helped you develop your skills as a researcher and as a student, which is really great. And then one thing that you just mentioned that we also really like to highlight and emphasize is the aspect of mentorship in our programs. And you mentioned this just now and also earlier that your mentor really helped you in learning how to do all of these research, learning how to research which you hadn't had experience with before, and then also just being very supportive and kind of walking you through the process. Can you tell me, can you just explain a little bit more about this? Tell me like what your experience was like with your mentor and with your TA as you moved through kind of the first teaching half of the course into the research half of the course.
So for the teaching heaven, that was like the professor makes she kind of like shares her screen, like she made a PPT that is also that is also free to visit after class. So like the first several lecturing courses was very a very basic introduction into linguistics, and then later when she moves into the like the writing session, she actually provides very specific and then very, I think, prestigious and then typical research examples to show us how other scholars have been doing in the field. And then by that, she creates kind of a list of guide questions for us to answer. I can actually so like for the introduction, she usually goes like starts from giving an example of it, and then when we move to the TA session, she gives a list of questions that everyone thinks about and then shares of their research program. And then at the end, we're required to write kind of like a three sentences to 5 sentences start, because she thinks there is something called a blank page effect, where like when we start when we start a paragraph from like a blank document, it is always hard for us to keep going. So she actually guides us in the TA session to do a structural first draft of that specific section we are looking for. So I think our entire writing of the research was broken to different smaller ones. So 1 week we only focus on one topic. For example, I think it's week 6 we start doing our abstracts, and then week 7 introduction, and then week 8 is about methodology. So each week she kind of, by providing very detailed examples at the very beginning, then she moves into providing questions to guide us step by step, and then a 3 to 5 sentence structural start. Then we have a week to complete the actual draft.
That's great. That seems like it's really structured very nicely, and definitely like as a lot of students, this is their first time doing research and experiencing something like this. So it seems like she really helped guide you through the process, which is nice. And then again, I know you're in the end of the program, so you haven't fully started the publishing process yet, but you mentioned that you're kind of starting that process now. Can you just briefly tell us what that's going to look like? Are you planning on publishing, and what has your mentor said about that process so far?
Oh, so like I think every 3 to 4 weeks I receive an email from the CCIR team and my from the outreach team asking about like whether everything is fine. And then towards the end that I've been receiving emails about like requiring me to submit my abstract and then my first draft, and then to see whether I have interest in talking about like actually kind of structuring a conference menu or like student journals that I want to submit my work. So I'm still in that process. So I actually I'm not very sure what's going to happen later, but like so there's always people there that people there to for you to go to if you want. So there's always people there to go to if you want any submission for that. And then the next part I think is the evaluation first before I can decide whether to publish it or like bring it up in a conference.
Great. And then we're just getting to the last few questions. Has this course given you any insights into your future career or future path with linguistics? Has it kind of informed or shaped your path moving forward at all?
Yeah, definitely. I have never doing like kind of like a knowing a subject in this very systematic approach. So after this I kind of like my general understanding about linguistics was broadened. And then often when people talk about linguistics, some of my friends ask me, how many languages do you speak? Or is it just like, what's the difference with that and literature or like composition? And then, so after this, so previously I would kind of like hesitate how I can answer this question to actually help them build up this impression like linguistics is about how languages, I would say that there are many branches of it, like you can talk about linguistics and how it transfers information as like the writing system. You can talk about like the sound of it, like phonology and phonetics. You can also go from like what kind of information it conveys, for example, morphology and pragmatics. So after this, I'm just to say I'm totally confident to provide, I would say, like a more confident to provide an answer into that kind of questions. And then and also it confirms my thought to making linguistics my future major in college, and then a field I would like to participate in my future career.
That's really great to hear. And then my last question for you, what would you say to someone who asked you what the value of doing a project or a program like this is, especially for a high school student?
So first of all, it's a very good opportunity for you to actually see how a professional research should be like. Maybe not that professional, but an insight into how scholars in the field do research. And then you have a very systematic process, and then you can work with very professional scholars to actually further your interest in the field. You can see you can hear from and communicate your ideas with people all around the world, and then to open new perspectives that you have never thought of, which is exactly what I was provided with this Future Scholar program. So basically, I think with these two with those two stated at, before, everyone can get something new from attending a research program like this. And as the first trial, I really recommend the CCIR because first of all, like you have a team, you have your TA, and then you have your professor there for you to actually guide you step by step of how to do academic research. And then this is a very good start for anyone that is starting from like anyone who is a new starter of doing academic research.
I think that's really great advice. So thank you so much for chatting with me, and congrats again on your nomination to our Spotlight series.
Thank you so much.